asked me, I looked him in the eye and said, you know what? I used to talk like that in high school, but I grew out of it. Yeah. He was even telling me one day, he said, hey, you ever been to a strip club? Why don't you go? Let's go to a strip club. He's just trying to get me. Thank God, because he came to me one time, almost in tears, and said, you know, I got to see something. I don't believe this garbage, but I'm feeling like something's coming about. He said, listen, why don't we do this right now? I'll hold your hand, you hold my hand, and I'll pray to God. I said, God, if you're there, show yourself to him. He came back a week later with stories you wouldn't believe about stuff that happened on the computer, stuff that happened with his son. He says, I'm ready. He ended up accepting Christ and be baptized. He's in heaven now. Yeah. Old, crusty lawyer with long gray hair, you know, smoked like a chimney, had big, looked like it on his face, you know. But we saved him from the pit of hell. God did. He says here, you know what's important to understand? I remember it was Dr. Gene Getz, that scholar again, that showed me the word perfect comes from the word teleos, which means maturity. So he's basically saying that. But when the perfect comes, in other words, when you guys finally grow up, when you mature, the partial passes away. That's what it's really teaching us. That's why I use the idea of child afterwards. Because it's talking about maturity and how we need to keep growing. And the most mature thing you can do is make a commitment of love. Love comes from God because we were made in love. And it's more than just a choice. I remember there's this book, Love is a Choice. Well, yeah, but it's more than a choice. Because as he's describing it here, it becomes part of your character. It becomes part of who you are. It's the outflow of your life. It's not just a choice. It starts with a choice. But it's being solid in that to such an extent through the trials, through the winds, the storms that come by, through the steps you're being challenged to take in your faith, that you're getting more and more settled and concrete. Remember some guys were nodding their head here about concrete takes 50 years, 75 years to settle. Yeah, this maturity takes some time. Love takes some time. Paul's trying to say that. Yeah, I know, guys. It's not easy. It takes time. But you got to start somewhere. And I'm hoping there's some guys in this room today that say, well, I'm starting right here. And I'm going to grow up. I'm going to keep maturing. And I won't go back. I won't quit. That's what he means. Endures all things, hopes all things, believes all things. One time I was pouring some concrete when I was young, and I didn't know much about it, and I had some gloves on, and I got some of the concrete because I'm got it in my hands. I mean, it's starting to set up. I'm panicking. I'm trying to get, and then I got some underneath here. And I remember, I don't think I have scars anymore. I used to have scars on my wrist because I burnt it. I guess it's the lime or something in the cement. I don't know. Man, it burnt through. Is that what someone said? Probably. Okay. And it burned through my skin. I had a scar and everything. I bandage it up. Just because I was stupid, right? I didn't know what I was doing. And they're so ignorant. That's right. There's so many people like that about love. They're ignorant. They get burned because they're not able to understand. They need to, as Paul says, grow up. Concrete is always poured in a form, isn't it? I mean, if I just pour this over the cross here and over my ladder, it's not going to hold much. But if I make a form around it and pour a few inches, it's going to be a solid base to hold everything. Every time when we did those lean-up walls to build our new building, we had to pour forms on the ground first. It's built in forms. Concrete holds in a form, just like when you get married. What do? You say wedding vows. That's the form. Boxing it in. For good times and bad times, I'm committed, is what you're saying. That's what love is. Love is commitment. The Corinthians, though, had taken it and called it love when they're having sex with different people, and called it love when they're being angry, and called it love when they're trying to get their own way. And Paul's saying, that's just sloppy. You got no form. You got nothing. We read on in the passage. In fact, point 3 is about being able to make significant changes by using love in your life. Love keeps everything together as you're willing to use it. Look what he goes on to say. Starting with verse 12. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I have been fully known. So now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Notice he talks about the mirror, which is interesting. Corinth was known for its bronze mirrors. And a bronze mirror is, because bronze is so dark, you always see dimly. So he's using something from their own culture, their own society, where they made mirrors in Corinth. And he's saying, now we just see the mirror dimly. So he's going to contrast and compare the now with the then, right? Now I see the mirror dimly. Then you're going to be able to see it in full color. You'll be able to see the whole thing. He goes on to say, look what he says next. He says, then face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I've been fully known. So he's saying, now you can only see part of what's going on with your spouse, part of what's going on with your mom and your dad, part of what's going on with your kids, part of what's going on with the people in church, and the problem you have with your friends, or the things that are going on. But there's going to be a time where you're going to be able to see it all. There's going to be a payoff. There's going to be a day when you can understand what's happening. Maybe it'll happen in your lifetime. Maybe it won't happen in your lifetime. But he's trying to contrast and compare the now and the then to do what? What's his point? His point is, I want you to make the commitment now, because I'm promising you it's coming. And you're going to see it. The day's coming when it'll all be made clear. Maybe you'll die and go to glory before you see it, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. Going back to what Paul said in Romans, he says, well, if I live for the Lord, and if I die for the Lord. Therefore, whether I live or die, I'm the Lord's. It's that commitment, he said. He loves the Lord. Maybe I need to finish the story. This whole idea of love became especially clear to me in 1992 when I got the Epstein-Barr virus. Here's what happened. Working real hard. We built our first building, but now it's packed. So much so that we have to have 4 or 5 services. And I'm running out of energy. The church is 500, 600, 700, 800 people. But the people in our church, I don't know if you've ever been in a small church or big church, bigger churches, things have to change as you grow. But we weren't changing. So everybody's acting like we're a small church, but now we're a big church. So I did the Christmas Eve service in 1991. And just struggled my way through it because I'd had like this cold for like a month. Couldn't shake this cold, like a virus. So we get in the car, drive up north to Lori's parents for Christmas. I never even got out of bed for a week. I'm just sick as a dog. We come back and they call the guys and say, hey, you got to get another preacher, man, because I can't preach. Well, here's the truth. I was sick for 9 months. I never went to church. I think I told you something. So I remember in that time when I'm so sick, and then it took years actually to get better, learn how to eat better, sleep better, do all the exercise better, trying to get my body healthy to fight off this Epstein-Barr virus. But in the midst of it, I had one of those, feeling sad for yourself sessions where you're moping and crying and whining, and so I'm doing that with the Lord. And it's almost like an audible voice. I was reading this passage of Scripture about love, and I get to verse 8. It says, love never fails. And it's like the Lord said, because I'm sitting there going, Lord, I can't even be a husband to my wife. Lord, I can't even care for my 3 daughters. Lord, I don't have energy to be a pastor. Lord, I can't understand this. And the Lord's like, he said to me, Marty, nothing's stopping you from loving. Nothing. No one's making you not love. No one's holding you back from love. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's right. I guess I can always love, even if I'm sick, even if the people are mad at me, even if I'm mad at them, even if things aren't working right, even if I don't feel good and I'm not feeling love. I can still make that concrete commitment to love, no matter what. And I stand before you today believing that's the only reason I'm here. Because I decided at that point, okay, nothing's stopping me from loving. I can make that commitment, and I can hold to it from here to the end. And that's what I believe. I'm challenging you to do the same thing. Because here's the sad truth. Let's say we took some of this concrete and we formed a nice form around that cross and around that ladder. And I had a whole truck coming here. And we made a nice pour here, and I got 6-8 inches of concrete. And this is why love is holding my whole life together. But then something comes along, and I decide, I don't know, I just decide I'm going to break my commitment. Or when you break your commitment, you got the form there, the cement's there. But I decide, no, I'm going to look at porn. I'm going to chase this other girl. I'm going to lie to these people. Or it's like you're, there you go. Not only did you, by deciding not to love, break that up, but now you've gone adrift. Your faith, shot. That's why he says, just like he started the whole chapter with, if I don't have love, I don't have nothing. You don't come to me, tell me you got nothing. That's what God was saying to me. Don't tell me you got nothing. I'm telling you, you got love. You got everything. If you got love, you'll have faith. If you have love, you'll have hope. If you have love, you have everything. It's when you don't have love, you got nothing. Nothing holding your life together. Nothing holding it solid. So when you're here, you're tempted because you're mad at your wife or you got some other chick at work. So, guys, what are you talking about? That's stupid. That's insane. Because without love, without commitment, you don't have anything. You have nothing to hold your faith together, nothing to hold your hope together. You've just gone adrift. You're probably going to capsize. You might end up like some of those funerals I've done for the guys that hang themselves, shoot themselves, whatever it be. Because you got nothing. And you know you got nothing. So if God's given you a woman, if God's given you some kids, if God's given you a church, if God's given you a pastor, if God's given you himself through Jesus Christ died on the cross, make the commitment.
Amen.
It's the only thing that's going to hold your life together. Love is like concrete. That's when the joy comes. That's when the fulfillment comes. That's when the satisfaction comes. That's when a man has a legacy that his kids want to follow, that people want to follow. And like Paul says, oh yeah, when I was a child, I used to do stupid things like a child, but I've become a man now. When we say man up, this is what we're talking about. That's what man up means. So what I want to do right now is have you all stand with me. And I want to pray with you. The worship team is coming back up. And I want to pray with you guys. And when Dave was here earlier sharing his story, I was thinking, we got to have an altar call. And I hate it when I'm not feeling called to come to an altar call, and I come because everybody's watching me. Don't come. You come because I need to solidify this. I need to make my pour. And you say, here's my 6, 8 inch, maybe you need a 2-foot pour, whatever. I'm pouring, Lord. I'm all the way in. And that's what you're coming up to say. So I'm going to pray a prayer with you right now, and I hope as a reaction, as a statement to that prayer, as manning up and saying, okay, I'm done with the childish ways, I'm now making my commitment. You commit yourself to the Lord, to your marriage, to following the Lord, to being a dad, in the name of Jesus Christ. Let's pray. Lord, we come before you in the name of Jesus Christ, and I'm praying for every guy here that needs to come up here. You know who they are. Maybe there's some guys here, they don't need to do it. Fine. But if you're feeling the touch from God, if he's nudging your conscience, if he's calling your heart, like that guy I talked to earlier, says, God's called me to ministry, well then don't miss this opportunity to make this pour, this commitment. Say, okay, Lord, I'm pouring it all on concrete. And I'm asking you that this commitment today will hold my whole life together, my faith, my hope, and my love. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Come come on down.